he's been chasing Katani for over 6 years. So it's a huge opportunity for him. This is a big fight for both of them. This is a kind of legacy fight. I know they had some issues since a few years ago in the UA Warriors, I believe, between their camps. When I'm analyzing a fight card and signing a new fighter, I'm not always, it needs to be the current champion or come with a long win streak.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Yusuf from MMA 101. And here today I have a special guest, the VP of Fighter Relation in PFL MENA. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Gustavo Firmino. How are you, Gustavo?
I'm doing amazing. How are you?
Great. Been many months since I saw you physically, man.
Yeah, it was the last time I was on the PFL MENA finals, I think, right? But yeah, I was looking forward to speak with you. Obviously, we have a great fight card to start the PFL MENA 2025 season. So yeah, I was really looking forward to it.
Apparently, you were in a very good mood when you made the fight card. I know so many behind the scenes efforts. Just tell me, because all what I see in your stories is just a laptop with the PFL logo in front of a pool, but I don't see what is behind the scenes. So just tell me quickly about the preparations. I know it's a hard work to make it.
Yeah, I mean, it's I put that on purpose. Obviously, I have a PowerPoint with all the details, but then when I post the picture, it's just like a teaser. It's just the front page, obviously. But it was a very interesting work. Obviously, we have so much talent in the Middle East, and then to go through the possible fights and the storylines, and it's obviously this is my passion as well. So I don't even consider it work. I just, MMA. I'm just a fan like yourself, and I think we, collaborating with my whole PFL MENA team, Eduardo from PFL Global, who is always a great support as well, and works alongside with me. I think we did something that the fans and media which are also fans like yourself are really happy about. So yeah, it's a very interesting card featuring the featherweights and the lightweights to start the season with a very good showcase bouts as well.
Before moving on to the card, just talking about the location this time, Jeddah, and in Saudi Arabia and in Arab world, we say Jeddah ghair, means Jeddah is different. So what do you think will be different from fans' perspective, fans' experience, moving it from Riyadh to Jeddah this year?
Right. Obviously, Riyadh was incredible, very welcoming for us. We did 4 events there last year. But everybody always asked me, Gustavo, when are you guys going to Jeddah? Jeddah is a great city. When are you guys going to Jeddah? That I heard that many times last year. And there were other events in Jeddah in the past, like a Brave CF hosted events there. But it's been a long time that Jeddah doesn't receive a big MMA event. So I'm actually very happy that we got this opportunity to do the event hosted with the Jeddah season. And what fans can expect, to be honest with you, I've been to Jeddah just once myself, and I just remember it's a beautiful city, amazing hotels, amazing restaurants. Obviously, it's on the sea as well, so it gives a little bit of a different experience as well. I've just heard amazing things about Jeddah. I actually have a friend who went to Jeddah recently on vacations, and she was really impressed by the city. So I'm also with high expectations, and I cannot wait to be there for the fight week. And I hope work doesn't get too busy, so I have enough time to go around and get to know the city. But I'm sure the fans will enjoy because I can hear only good things about Jeddah.
Definitely. I visited it one time and I loved it. So hopefully, inshallah, this time will be my second time. And talking about Jeddah, the Jeddah fans' favorite, Ahmed Makki, will be returning back to the cage after a long time, almost 7 years. And it was a very well matched up fight against Egyptian fighter Hisham Nimr, who is also 7 years away from the cage. They will be colliding in this event. And from now, I can imagine the cheerleaders and the fans what they will do in the arena. So
Yes,
tell me
definitely.
about your expectations about this fight.
Yeah, I mean Ahmed Maki, obviously he's an OG, he's a pioneer in the Saudi Arabian MMA scene. He hasn't fought for, yeah, I think 7 years, as you mentioned. And he, now that we are hosting the event at his home in Jeddah, it made sense. And he wants to do this, the final dance, his last fight, a retirement fight. So, yeah, it's going to be a pleasure. It's going to be, great to give him the platform to officially finish his career as he's moving to other things. He's a huge influencer. He continues contributing to the MMA world with his content, with his breakdowns, obviously. But he still trains every day. He was still, in good shape. And yeah, I'm looking forward to it. And his opponent, actually, they were supposed to fight in another event sometime ago. So it was a fight that just made sense. Like they wanted to fight each other. This fight was supposed to happen in the past. I think his opponent Hashem, he is also on the same stage of life where he is being focusing on coaching, and so he hasn't fought for 7 years as well. So the fight made sense for both, and I'm sure the Jeddah fans are going to be very happy about that to see his last dance. And we have also Malik doing his pro debut. He's also from Jeddah, and after a long amateur career, he got the silver medal on the IMF Asian Championships. Long amateur career. Now he's finally ready to make his pro debut. He's also from Jeddah, so that's another fighter very interesting for the Jeddah fans to be coming to the event to watch.
So Malik will be fighting a fighter from Algeria, Montasser, who has already one pro fight and his record is 1-0. So it will be a good matchup for him. Let's see the fight and like new faces in the pro world, I can consider.
Yeah, yeah, I'm very excited. Obviously, Malik is, he showed his skills at some point. Now it was the time for him to make this move to pro, and he's fighting someone that is Algerian BJJ champion, Montasser. He's an Algerian BJJ champion, Algerian EDCC champion, and he already has the experience of one professional fight, which is very different the amateur, obviously the rules, etc. So he already has a good challenge ahead of him, and I think this should be a very interesting match.
Just one request about Ahmed Maki, because he's a great friend of mine, and I don't know, maybe PFL considered this, but I believe he deserves like a video after his fight, a video from PFL showing some parts of his career until this day. I believe this will be an emotional event or emotional fight where you will see people crying after that, and having it in Jeddah would make it يعني, the best moment when we see a video about him. I think, or maybe I ruined a surprise that you already planned. I don't know.
Yeah, we have many things planned for the night, but yeah, it's always great to hear your input and your suggestions as well. But yeah, the fans should tune in. The fans from Jeddah, they should come to the fight and support their Saudi fighters. Obviously, there are a bunch of very good fighters on the card as well. But also the ones that are the Arab fans out there who cannot make it to Jeddah, make sure to tune in. It's going to be an exciting event.
Okay, for those who cannot come to Jeddah and watch it, where can they watch it online?
StarzPlay.
StarzPlay is the only platform where people in the Middle East can watch the event live, inshallah.
Yes, that's correct. Yeah, that's our new home for the Arab fans to watch the event in the Middle East.
Great. And now for the fight card, it contains 12 fights. Where do you like to start? From top to bottom or bottom to top?
I think we should start from top to bottom and talk about, there are the league fights. I'm sure you're very excited to talk about them, but I think the main event is the fight that brought all this together, especially for Jeddah, right?
Yeah, I think this fight has been in the making for how many years? Since 7 years also, after their first fight. that
Yeah.
they were talking. Islam Rida, he said that I should have won this fight, and there was some talking, some trash talking between them. Then it didn't happen last year, and now it's time finally. Hopefully, nothing happens.
Yeah, it's just this is like a movie story. So we have Abdullah Al-Qahtani, the Saudi champion who won the first PFL MENA season in 2024. So a proud Saudi champion, and he had a fight, a very tough fight, a very close fight against Islam Reda back in December 2018, and it was a split decision, potentially controversial. Islam Reda thinks he won. Abdullah Khatani thinks he won. Obviously, both of them got much better after so many years. This is more than 6 years, almost 7 years in the making. And now they have the rematch that we all expected it would happen last year, but then it didn't. Obviously, Katani made it to the Islam Reda made it to the final, and then he got injured. Katani actually replaced Islam Reda as the alternate. So it's just how the story went. They didn't fight last year, and now the event PFL MENA makes its debut for the first time in Jeddah, and we bring this anticipated rematch that happened also in Jeddah. So it's incredible. The Saudi champion versus an Egyptian who has 12 wins and one loss, and his only loss was against Abdullah Khatani. So this is an incredible fight. It's literally like a movie.
Yeah. Do you think that any of the fighters can benefit from the first fight they had, or they are totally two different fighters now?
I think they're totally different. I think they both got much better. Obviously, I think their styles are potentially the same. Islam Reda is a very good jiu-jitsu player, but at that time he was not as good as he is now. Now he's a black belt. He has he's on a 6-fight win streak with I believe all his wins are by submission. So obviously he's a very dangerous grappler. Abdullah Khatani, very decorated Muay Thai and champion, is a very decorated striker. But he also he knew this fight would potentially happen, so I'm sure he's been training his takedown defense and etc. So this is the usual striker versus grappler. But yeah, I don't think the first fight tells much about the story. I think I actually don't know what to expect. This is the what I like about this type of events, about this type of fights, is that it's I'm as a fan, I don't know what to expect. I just expect that both of them are very motivated to win.
What is unique about this fight card for me personally, that I cannot say that this fighter is guaranteed to win. It can go either way in
By the way,
almost all the fights. And I told you about this before. It's impressive, really. And as you mentioned, this fight is totally different from the previous fight, but it's very important in the story as a chapter in both fighters' story. Can Al Qahtani prove that he's the one who won last time and win again this time, or we see a different story from Islam Rida who will surprise us maybe in this fight?
yeah, this is the kind of legacy fight that is very important for both of them. Obviously, Katani, he's the current champion, and he wants to prove that he is the best in the division, and that the first fight was not a fluke, and that he was really the winner, even though it was a very close fight. For Reda, it's the biggest fight of his career. It's a main event. He has only one loss in his record, and it was against Abdullah Khatani. He's been asking for this fight since last year. He's been chasing Khatani for over 6 years. So it's a huge opportunity for him. This is a big fight for both of them. This is the kind of legacy fight that has a lot on the line, and I'm sure that both of them are very motivated to win.
Okay, Gustavo, remove PFL hat and put the hardcore fan hat. Who do you think will win?
It's exactly what you said. Like to be honest, most of the fights of this card, I literally don't know, and I think that's what gets me super excited. Like when I look, look at the card, I start smiling. I'm like, I cannot wait to watch because it's I think that's what for us MMA fans, that's what we like. We want to see fights that we don't that anything can happen, right? And that's I think part of the storyline. So who is he's going to fight next? So I honestly I cannot give a prediction, but even if I wanted, I cannot.
Mm,
Yeah.
noted. Now for the co-main event, the second PFL MENA champion Mohammed Mohsen Saifi from Iran will be fighting Ahmed Sisi from Egypt. This would be firework, but what surprised me in Topology that maybe 98% expect Mohammed Saifi to win. What do you think?
You know, obviously Mohsen, he's a powerful striker. It's it's difficult to bet against him. So I can understand that the fans, obviously, they usually they want to side with the champion, right? Such a decorated striker. He's on a run now, and you know he's the current champion. However, we have on the other side Ahmed El Sisi, who was two times the alternate for the 2024 season. So by being the alternate, he's ready. He's telling the world that he's ready to fight anyone. So he's a former Kadia lightweight champion. He's on a 5-fight winning streak. Four of out of his 6 wins are by knockout. So he's a powerful individual as well.
He's
I don't know if you
very
already met
explosive
him.
also in the fights.
Very explosive. Both are very explosive. So you can imagine this will be fireworks. Ahmed El Sisi has BJJ and Sanda background. Obviously, it's not on the level of Mohsen, but he's been training hard. And yeah, he basically, when he signed up to be the alternate in the 2024 season, he was actually telling PFL, telling me and telling the fans, I'm ready to fight anyone. And there he is. I think it's going to be an explosive fight. Both of them are strong individuals. You stand next to Ahmed Al Sisi, you see that he's putting in the work. And yeah, I'm expecting fireworks on this one.
Some information about Ahmed Sisi, because some of the fans say that he picks up his fights and he chooses the fights he want to fight. Although in different promotions, I saw him like he was accepting any fight. So many alternatives coming. Okay, I accept. Even in PFL, I would accept to be the alternative last minute against anyone who will be available for me. Now, this is the opportunity for him to prove himself in front of all the doubters and show them that now the first fight for me is against the champion.
Exactly. Like what differs PFL MENA from other promotions is that like the fighters literally need to be ready to fight anyone. It already happened in certain occasions where a fighter he gets injured during fight. Gets sick during fight week, during weight cut, and they needed to replace with an alternate. And literally, he has an opponent change one day before the fight. So it's a different. We do things differently here. First of all, it's a tournament format. You don't choose your opponent, and the opponent can change. The fight date will not change. So if the opponent gets injured or he gets sick or he doesn't make weight, we're always going to have a replacement. So the fighters need to be well-rounded, need to be training for their opponent, but they need to be training everything because they need to be ready to fight anyone.
One other interesting matchup is between two undefeated fighters, Taha bin Dawood and Abdurrahman Lahyasat. Abdurrahman Lahyasat, he won last year over the last year champ, Abdullah Al-Qahtani, although he had some issues in the final where he couldn't fight the final. Now he is coming determined to get what he believes is his belt. What do you think about this matchup? I think also it was supposed to happen before Taha against Abdurrahman.
No, it was supposed to happen Taha versus Katani on PFL MENA 1 last year. Yes, and then Taha, he missed weight, and then he got replaced. But yeah, Abdelrahman Al-Hiazat versus Taha, two undefeated fighters, two very experienced fighters. Taha, both of them have strong amateur experience as well. So even though their records is 5-0 for Al-Hiazat and 4-0 for Taha, they're both very experienced. as you mentioned, Riyazat, he wants to prove that he is the best. He wants to he has that chip on his shoulder that he believes he was supposed to be the champion last year, and he didn't make it because he had medical issues during fight week, and he was forced to pull out from the final. So he has a lot of motivation to come back and get what he believes it's his. And on the other side, we have Taha, who is coming from an incredible win against against Tariq Ismail. So he was a fight that he had trouble. He was getting controlled on the
He was
grappling,
losing that fight.
and then he was definitely losing that fight. And then, even though his main background is Muay Thai, he's very skilled in Jiu-Jitsu, and he showed his skills. He got a win by triangle, and he showed that he's a very well-rounded fighter. This is the kind of fight that is very interesting. Somebody's all has got to go, as we usually say. So I'm very excited for this one.
Very nice.
And I should add, they don't like each other as well. They had, and that's something you should talk to them about. I don't have the full information, but I know they have some issues since a few years ago in the UA Warriors, I believe, between their camps. And they are very motivated to fight each other. So about the full story about it, it's something for you to get.
I will do my homework about it.
You do your homework, but they are two guys that they're very motivated for this fight. It's more than a fight for them. They have some personal reasons to get the win.
Great. The next matchup is between Iraqi fighter Hussein Salem and the Egyptian fighter Asim Ghanem. There is big difference in experience in both fighters. Hussein Salem has much more fights, but Asim is the champion in Qadiyah. So it would be also a great, maybe striking fight. What do you think about this fight?
I find this fight one of the most interesting fights in the fight card because we have a very experienced Hussein Salem, very well known in the Middle East. I mean, he's a decorated Muay Thai champion. He got his Arab Muay Thai championship, if I'm not mistaken, beating Asewadi.
He beat Selwadi in Muay Thai.
Yes, in Muay Thai.
In MMA, he lost.
Right, but in Muay Thai, yeah. So showing that his Muay Thai level is really high. Obviously, he's coming from a viral KO win against a very strong opponent, the Italian that trains out of in one FC. He had this incredible KO victory against I forgot the name of the Italian the fighter, but who trains at SBG Ireland. So Hussein Salem is coming hot in the league, and then on the other side we have Asim, who is much younger. He's 6-0, so he's undefeated, Qadiyah featherweight champion. But what I like about him is that he's very confident. He's a confident kid who was asking for this opportunity. And he told me personally, I'm ready to fight anyone. And there are a lot of good fighters out there that sometimes they are, trying to pick fights and etc. I love this type of attitude that Asim has. He told me he's ready to fight anyone, and he's very excited for this matchup. So this is two different eras colliding. Hussein Salem is 32 years old. Asim is 23 years old. So he's bringing, he's younger, he's potentially hungrier, and he wants to prove that he belongs that's his level. He belongs in PFL MENA.
One Egyptian fighter once told me that normally in organizations, this is of course based on his point of view. He's saying in most promotions, they are getting Egyptian fighters to lose. So they build their own fighters on Egyptians who are less or so. However, those shining Egyptian models that we have, like Omar al-Dafrawi, like Ahmed Faris, Ahmed Amir, so many fighters, Egyptian fighters who are shining now in the Middle East, these guys were fighting against the odds. Everybody expecting them to lose. Then they win over a champion or so. Then Everything changes for them. Their life changes after such fights. What do you think about this take?
True. I mean, my impression of the Egyptian fighters are that they are real fighters. They don't care about who they're fighting, about records, about age, about experience. They just love to fight. That I think what happened with from Ahmed Amir winning the title in Brave, and now we see Omar Dafrawi winning the title in PFL MENA. I think that motivated everybody training MMA in the country to see where they can go if they train hard, if they follow the steps of these other champions. So I think the Egyptian fighters, and we can also see in social medias, they are the most engaging fans. And there is not even a second, like a close second place. The Egyptians are incredible. They're following their idols, their fighters. They're really supporting them. So I think the Egyptians are great. They are always ready. And they're always bringing exciting matchups. And I think the training level in Egypt as well is going up. We see, how prepared the fighters are coming to these matchups, right? So yeah, I think it's a very exciting time for the MMA scene in Egypt. And obviously we have other promotions like Kadia doing great events and keeping them busy, giving the platform. So promotions like PFL MENA, we can go in and get to know these fighters, see them active, and give them opportunities to come over and fight in a platform where they're going to be fighting on higher level opponents, like in this case, like in this matchup, the current Kadia featherweight champion going up against Hussein Salem. I think this is a great matchup.
Amazing. The next fight is between Azzeddin Derabani from Jordan against Algerian ex-UFC fighter Yanis Ghimouri. What do you think about this fight?
I'd like to ask you first. What do you think about this fight?
Uh, Frankly, this one is 50-50 for me. Yanis Ghimouri, although he had very great fights in Brave, but in UFC, even there were some jokes about him when he was hitting the pads, these things that some people, the media, they were doubting his striking or doubting his coach also. But he's very great fighter, yani, and I'm always seeing Faris Ziyam in his corner. Azzeddin is coming from a loss. I know that he wants, yani, to revenge that loss and win, and he has big hopes to be the champion. So it's a very difficult fight to predict, frankly.
Yeah. So my thought about this fight is Edin Adebani versus Yanis, two of the best strikers in the Middle East. Obviously, Izzeddin, the Palestinian samurai, experienced fighter from Jordan, one of the OGs as well, 35 years old, lots of experience, former Desert Force featherweight champion. Has a win over Hussein Salem, has a win over Hamza Koheji back in the day. Multiple titles in Sanda, kickboxing, Muay Thai. So I can go on and on about him. He's a legend.
And the good, sorry for disturbing, the good thing about Azzeddin, win or lose, you will have a great fight. I remember his fight against Shorty Torres, and his knee was ruined in that fight, and he kept till the end, and he lost via decision. Such warrior heart is the music.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, no, he's definitely a warrior. So I'm very happy with Izzeddin joining the league. His Muay Thai record, if my notes are correct, is 31 wins and 1 loss. You can imagine how much experience he has across all combat sports. So he's a legend. He's definitely one of the pioneers in Jordanian MMA, and he's going against another fighter who is a striker as well, a very high level striker. Who in Yanis, he is 15-0 in kickboxing, French K1 champion. Notable wins. Yanis has a win against Rashid El Hazomi and against Amin Ayub. He has a win against Amin Ayub. So you see the level of striking and of MMA of Yanis. He is actually a very, very well-rounded fighter as well. Even though his striking is his base, He has submission victories in his record. And, you know, I don't think losses determine the full story. You know, there are different situations. When I'm analyzing a fight card and signing a new fighter, I'm not always, you know, it needs to be the current champion or come with a long win streak. There are so much more. Like Izzeddin, he's a legend. He is an incredible high-level striker in the Middle East, and maybe he's in another promotion that is getting the maybe the matchups in an international stage, but now this is a MENA platform. So I think obviously he's a legend, and I'm very happy to have him. And he's going against Yanis, and I think this fight is going to be fireworks. I have no idea what to expect. Both are very good strikers. I think both of them coming from losses, they have a lot to prove. For both of them, there is a lot on the line on this fight. And Ian is moving up from bantamweight to featherweight. Usually when fighters do that is because maybe they have problems on the weight cut. They are not doing well on that weight category. So I've seen Yanis putting on incredible performances on Brave, CF, and other events, like flawless, smooth striking techniques, like beautiful to watch. So I think this move to featherweight could be something very good for him. I'm sure that he is well thought out. That's a decision that he took after the setbacks he had. So I think this is a fight that means a lot for both of them. So there is a very dramatic, both of them coming from losses, and both of them getting this shot on PFL MENA. And I think, yeah, we can expect like a fireworks on this one.
We are talking about their amazing striking, but we forget that they have more submissions in their CVs than also knockouts. They have good ground game.
Exactly. Both of them are well-rounded. They've been around. So yes, their background is striking, but it's just like yeah, they can do it all. So we actually have no idea. Will they keep this fight on the standing? Will they go for wrestling and potential submissions? So many things can happen here. So I'm excited for this one.
Amazing. The next fight is a new face in PFL MENA, Salah Ad-Din Hamli from Morocco against Abbas Khan, Bahrain, Pakistan. Salah Ad-Din Hamli, he's a well-rounded fighter. He's undefeated. His record is 8-0. Tell me, Gustavo, what do you look at in the fighters, generally? Because I know your DMs are full of requests just to join PFL MENA. Why I know? Because maybe like on every 2 days I'm receiving messages. I'm talking to Gustavo asking him to join PFL MENA, but he's not responding. I felt that I'm your secretary. So many people are approaching me. So imagine who is approaching you. So tell me, how do you filter out these fighters?
And I'm so sorry about that. It's difficult to answer everyone. I wish I could, but yeah, I do receive a lot of DMs, and I feel, I appreciate that. It's great when the fighters, hey, they are trying to put their name out there. They are, telling me, hey, I'm ready to go. So I remember when we made a post, who do you want to see on PFL MENA in 2025? I went through all the comments. So it's keep doing that. It's not, unfortunately, I don't have time to answer everyone, but I'm checking you guys out. I have a database with hundreds, maybe 300 MENA fighters that I keep an eye on. So I appreciate the fighters willing and that want to join the league for sure. So but what I'm looking at is there are so many things. Obviously there is the skills, the level, but then each division is different as well. There are different levels within the divisions. Like, we are not going to talk today about the bantamweights, but our bantamweights division is high level. So sometimes, if it's a guy, if it's a fighter with a low record, I need to see, is he level? Because the records don't tell everything either. But we need to see if his level, we need to check who he's training with. is he on the level to join and compete against a more experienced opponent with more fights in his record? So there are so many things that I'm looking at that
If
is
we
difficult
throw
to
him,
explain.
if we throw him to the champion, will it be a competitive fight or not? Maybe you think about that.
Exactly. Yeah, I need to look at him how he would match up with everyone. But then there are fighters that I look at and see, look, maybe in his first round he's not ready to fight on that level, but he can also develop, and then at some point he needs to
Nice.
prove himself. So there are so many ways I need to look, and it's not only about signing one fighter; it's about how he integrates in the current roster. So it's not only about one fighter; it's about the other fighters I have in that division and how he matches up against them and how we can build competitive and a bracket that the fans will like to watch.
So Abbas Khan and Salahuddin Hamli, both of them have 8 wins. Abbas 8-3. Um, what do you think about this fight? And will it be a great test for Salahuddin?
I think it's a great test for both of them. Obviously, Salah, he's undefeated. He has a boxing background, but if you watch his previous fights, he's very well rounded. I think he's enjoying to train wrestling very much as well because he likes to take the fight to the ground and use his ground and pound as well. He actually has 3 wins by submission, so he's a mixed martial artist. He's very well rounded. And then on the other side, we have Abbas Khan, who is coming on a 2-fight winning streak. He fought in the last season and had he didn't go his way in his first fight against George Ede, who ended up being the finalist. So he got the finalist in the first round. Abbas Khan also has boxing background, and he's training wrestling with the KHK team under the great Eldar Eldarov. So both fighters primarily boxing background, but both also like to wrestle. I think it's a very interesting stylistically matchup. I think it's a big test for both of them. So I think it's a perfect matchup for both of them to show, in which level they are. And I think might be the biggest test for Salah in his undefeated career to fight Abbas Khan, who has a very similar style as well.
Yeah, the following fight is we talked about George Aid, so he will be fighting Muhammad Fahmi from Iraq. Muhammad Fahmi, although he is 2-0, but I know him, he's training here in Abu Dhabi. And don't be misled by his record. Just I'm saying that.
Yeah, his record is actually 4-0. So on Topology, there are 2 fights missing. If you go to Sherdog, 0. Yeah, they need to update, but you are completely right. George Ede versus Mohamed Fahmy. This is a very interesting matchup. Obviously, George Ede, finalist of the last season. I mean, he's a very tough fighter, very well rounded as well, and he did really well in the last season. He got to the final. I think he was a bit timid in his last fight against Mawson. He didn't pull the trigger. I think he could do much more, but he's obviously one of the best. He was the silver medalist. He was the finalist, and he's going against Fahmy, who, even though he's 4-0, he's a judo black belt. He's a BJJ black belt. He has many titles in grappling and jiu-jitsu. He was actually part of the Iranian wrestling team. So it's another one of those fights is striker versus grappler. Obviously, George Ede, he's primarily a fighter basing his Taiwan Sunda, right? So this is a very interesting matchup. And Fahmy, he's been asking me for an opportunity for a long time, and I'm sure he's very motivated with this opportunity, and that's going to be a very interesting fight. I know he's training hard in Dubai.
Yeah, he's training very hard, and George Aid is not an easy opponent at all. It would be a very difficult welcome for him in PFL MENA. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the roster, I think there are no easy welcomes. This is a very strong division. So yeah, I'm very excited for this fight.
Yeah. The other fight is Abdullah Salim from Kuwait against Suhail Ta'eri from Algeria. Both were there last year. Abdullah Salim, although he won, but the fight was changed to no contest. Now he's determined to win, but Sohail Tairi is not an easy opponent. Strike. You saw his fight against Muhammad Mohsen Saifi. Until now, if I want to remember 2024, Mina, the best fight for me was Sohail Tairi and Muhammad Mohsen Saifi. Man, that was a bloodbath.
That was a war. Oh, definitely. Sohail, he always brings it, right? Like that fight was definitely the best fight of the 2024 season. He was very close to winning in the second round, and then Mohsen came back stronger on the third round. But yeah, Sohail, he's incredible. And Abdullah Salim, last year, obviously, he had a very good win in the first round. Unfortunately, he tested positive for steroids, so he was out the rest of the season. He already did his suspension period, and now he's able to compete again. So I'm sure that he learned his lessons, and he's coming back strong because he's been training hard. He's doing his camp in Liverpool with the likes of Dean Garnett and Tom Mullen and other great fighters from that camp. So he's very motivated. He missed his opportunity last year, and he's undefeated, and he's coming back strong, and to have a good run on PFL MENA. And what I like about this matchup as well is because it's a BJJ, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu versus Luta Livre, which has always been a big discussion in the grappling world, especially in Brazil. So we have Abdullah Salim, who has a background in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and Sohail Tairi, who has a background in Luta Livre. So two different grappling schools, two different grappling styles. Both are very exciting fighters, and I'm looking forward to this one.
And also, Abdullah Salim is one of the rare Arab fighters who fought MMA in Brazil as well. I think he was
most of his
he lived there
for
a while.
Yes, he was training in Brazil. He lived there for a long time. So I think he didn't have the opportunities to fight in the region for any reason, but here he is. Last year didn't work out for him. Now he has a second chance, undefeated, 100% win finish rate. All his fights he won by finish, one by KO, 4 by submission, and going against Sohail Tairi, who brought the fight to the champion Mohsen, was very close to winning at some point. Sohail Tairi, very exciting on his own right, with a winning finish rate of 85%. Again, it's with 6 out of 7 wins by finish, 3 knockouts and 3 submissions. So very exciting fight for sure.
Although MMA these years it evolved much compared to the past, but still, as you mentioned, when you see two different schools fighting each other, you feel the flavor of each school. They have their own way of approaching the fight, when they do the takedown, the way they strike. So can't wait for this matchup.
Yeah, it's a very interesting matchup, and me as a grappler myself, I'm very curious about this one.
Interesting. One of the fights which is out of the tournament, but I would like to talk about it. Yusuf Al Hosani from UAE will be fighting Nader Jafal from Tunisia. Frankly, Nader Jafal, I've never heard about him, but apparently he was fighting in Algeria, in Tunisia. What do you think about this fight? And are we going to see Yusuf Al Hosani one day in the tournament?
Yeah, I think that's definitely the plan. He is Yusuf. He has a record of 4-1. I think the last year we tried to book him a few times. The idea was to give him more experience so he could potentially join the league this year. But then he got injured, and for different reasons, unfortunately, the fights didn't happen. He was actually originally scheduled to fight on the PFL Dubai in January as well. So yes, I'm excited for him to finally do his debut with PFL. and and for this fight, he's fighting Nader Jeffel. So we have 13 countries represented in this fight card. So we have a Tunisian and undefeated. He only has 2 fights, but didn't taste loss in his record yet. He's a BJJ purple belt, but he is a Tunisian Kempo champion, and he has multiple titles in gi and no gi. So he's also a fighter who likes to grapple. I think it's an interesting fight for to show if Youssef is on the level to keep progressing and potentially join the league next year, or and he's got a very young and hungry fighter who wants to take it on him. So I'm very curious about this one as well.
Okay, as we talked about the fight card, if you have some time allowed, just a few questions in general. Who are the
Sure.
backup fighters?
The backup fighters. Um, so for the lightweight division, we have Anthony Zaidan.
Hmm.
He's the backup fighter for the lightweight division, and yeah, he's ready to go.
Nice.
And for the featherweight division, I had one fighter. He unfortunately got injured. I'm working on signing the new backup fighter for the featherweight division. So it's already in the works, but I just cannot announce yet.
Okay. So it won't be Yusuf Al Hosseini or Nader Jeffal.
No, it's not going to be them. They are not the alternates.
Okay, good. Also, I wanted to discuss about Zamzam Al Hamadi. Zamzam, just tell me how she signed with PFL. I believe the talks were for a long time, and I was asked just to shut up and not to talk about it by some people here, and I just wanted to see this happening, and finally it's happening. Is there any fight for Zamzam soon?
Yes, first of all, obviously, super excited with Zamzam signing with us. This has been a long time in the making. Obviously, I know about Zamzam, and I had the pleasure to meet Zamzam and her family, her mom, who is a big supporter of the whole family in their jiu-jitsu and MMA career. So I had lunch with them. They are incredible people, and obviously, it's so inspiring to see such a young person so dedicated in her career and her goals. I mean, look at how many titles she has. I played with her on the phone the other day because we created this artwork with all her titles, and there were a couple of medals missing. She said, "Oh no, here there are 3. I think this jiu-jitsu tournament I won 3 times, not only one." I said, "Zanzam, you have many medals. Can you give me one?" But I'm so excited with her signing. She is doing incredible in her amateur career. So the plan is, just like we've been working with Hatan and other amateur fighters, obviously we have Abdulaziz as well from Saudi, is to continue giving them amateur fights under the PFL MENA platform and events. And she's a fighter. She has the goal of becoming a professional at some point. So I'm very excited to witness her developing in her amateur career until she's ready to turn professional in a couple of years for sure.
Mm-mm. Impressing. I had an interview with Zamzam, with her sister Ghala, with their mother also. And this family is very unique. I always call Zamzam the Emirati Ronda Rousey. That's for a reason, because I heard stories about Ronda Rousey because her mother was a judoka also. She used to wake her up with an arm bar or so. So that was Ronda Rousey's alarm to wake up, on daily basis.
Yeah.
Zamzam's mother is doing same thing also. She does some jiu-jitsu moves on her daughters to wake them up, and they have a military schedule every day, what to do. They are very organized. They have time management. Even in their before their fights in IMAF or in any championship that they are fighting, both sisters and their brother also, they don't have the losing mentality. They have the winning mentality, and I believe this is attributed to their mother. She always tell them that you are training more than anybody else in your weight classes. Why to lose? they have maybe 2 times, 3 times a day. So, and hard work pays off at the end.
Yeah, no, definitely is a very unique family. Nada, she does an incredible work I mean, she's a judo black belt and a jiu-jitsu brown belt herself. So she she has the martial arts mindset of development and making progress in her skills, and I think she really passed that along to her daughters. And I mean, you can see by the results, right? The amount of medals she has in jiu-jitsu and MMA, 2 times IMMAF Youth Asian a world champion, and 1 time IMMAF Youth Asian champion. Besides her many medals in jiu-jitsu that if we are going to list everything, we're going to stay here 1 more hour. So yeah, Zanzam is incredible. And yeah, I'm just really looking forward to her debut. There is no date yet. We just wanted to announce that, yes, she's going to be doing amateur fights under the PFL MENA banner sometime in the near future. And I'm very excited about that.
Great. Zamzam, give me one medal. Okay.
What is that?
I'm asking Zamzam to give me one medal of the ones she has.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I asked her.
I'm
Just give
feeling
me
jealous
one.
now.
That's awesome.
Okay. Before we conclude, it was announced by PFL CEO about PFL Africa. I know you are not interfering much with the PFL Africa, but now the African Arabs are very lucky. They have PFL, the MENA version, the African version, and also Europe. Most of the Moroccans, Algerians, they have like European nationality. Do you think there will be Asian PFL tournament?
Yes, I think. Yeah, no, definitely. I think that's in the roadmap, right? The goal, the vision of PFL is to create the Champions League of MMA, and we started with PFL Europe, then PFL MENA. We have PFL Africa starting this year. So the other regions definitely are in the roadmap. And that's part of really the pillar of what makes PFL different, is to have all these regional leagues where we scout and we build the regional stars and the regional champions, so they can move up to a world level later on. So definitely, I'm very excited with the launch of PFL Africa. It's more opportunity, another platform for the African fighters, and we definitely are going to be seeing PFL in the other regions as well. As you mentioned, I'm involved with PFL MENA, which is already a lot of work to take care of with my PFL MENA team, but always, very interested and very excited to see the development of the promotion in implementing the other franchises in the other regions as well. So so we see the pieces connecting to create what is the final vision of creating the Champions League of MMA. So yeah, very excited about the launch of PFL Africa.
So now we are seeing one of the graduates of PFL MENA, Ali Talib, is moving to PFL Europe, and maybe he will be the second, no, the first one who will be hopefully having both MENA and Europe. It will be a very difficult matchup next time, but we believe in Ali Talib really. Now we would like to ask you about Omar Al-Dafrawi. Omar Al-Dafrawi, we are seeing him for a while now in USA. Wearing some Soma Fight Club on his t-shirt. So I believe this is his next phase. Is he going to fight in PFL, the global version, maybe showcase fights, or what is his future?
Yeah, so Omar Dafrawi, obviously, he, great road to the championship last year. Now, indeed, he's in the US training, I think with at Belal Muhammad's gym currently. But yeah, the plan is he's going to be joining the roster of the PFL Champion Series, and he's going to be doing showcase bouts at some point this year. But yeah, so excited about very obviously very excited and very honored to see his story I know Omar, and I saw him in his losing streak, and then to see him just having such an incredible comeback story and beating legends and beating the last man who beat him to get the championship. It was an incredible year for him last year. So now he's looks like he's not really resting because I think he's very dedicated and very disciplined. So he's training in the US. He's probably developing new skills, and yeah, we shall see him competing in the near future.
In your opinion, not officially, do you think like he needs two wins as showcase before he joins the global tournament?
I don't know. I think that's a question for him. I think if you talk to him, I think what he this year he wanted to develop more skills. He had a very long streak of fights that he was basically all the time in training camps, right? Even before he joined PFL, not only last year, but even before that, he did many fights in a very short period of time. So I think he what he feels is that he needed some time to let his body rest and train, develop skills. And I imagine that at some point he would be joining the PFL World Tournament.
I wish him all the best. He deserves it. He's a hard worker, and now he became much more talented fighter. Also, we are seeing continuous improvements in his skills. Mr. Gustavo, it's always a pleasure to talk to you and discuss and analyze different fight cards. Thank you for your time and presence today, and see you soon.
Yeah, no, always a pleasure speaking to you. Thanks for the great work you're doing covering the fights. And yeah, I see you soon to speak about the next event, or potentially to speak after we've seen what happened in the first event. It's going to be interesting to see to do an analysis and see what
Post fight.
comes after. Yeah, but yeah, it's been a pleasure, my friend. Have a good one, and thanks for your time.
You too.